So in Massachusetts, Proposition 2.5 is a state law that limits how much tax revenue a city or town can raise each year. So the way that we raise revenue in Malden, we take the total valuation of all the property in the city and we add that up, and then we can only increase it by 2.5% every year. So if we need to raise more revenue every year, we actually have to go to the voters and ask them at the ballot to allow us to raise more money, and that's what we're doing on March 31st. When we first started thinking about putting this override on the ballot, we realized that we had a gap of about $5.5 million. And then as we started to dig into the budget and got some more numbers from the state, we realized that we actually might be facing a larger gap. And so we realized that we wanted to actually let the voters decide, did we want to fill just a one-year gap and keep that gap to that $5.5 million, or did we want to ask if they wanted to do a little bit more and actually have the option of voting for $8.2 million. 5.4 would be about a $350 difference for your average taxpayer. That's for someone who owns their home and isn't getting the residential exemption. If we vote the larger option, it would be about a $500 a year increase. Again, that's without that residential exemption. So the exemption means that if you live in your home full time, you can go to the city and apply for that discount, and you would actually pay a little bit less than that $500 or $350. We're basically talking about general government services. So what does that include, right? It's everything from City Hall to schools to DPW, the senior center, the library. It's everything that we rely on to make the city livable. So the way I've been trying to explain it to folks is if you love the city today and you feel like the city is a great place to live, then this is going to keep your city services stable, especially if you have kids in the schools. I think we've made great progress improving the schools, listening to parents and caregivers, and we want to make sure that we can keep doing that. I think there's two tiers. If the lower amount fails, that would be sort of the worst case scenario in terms of cuts and layoffs. So we'd be looking at between 50 to 60 layoffs in that scenario, because we'd be looking at having no additional resources coming in. If we are able to pass the smaller amount, then we would be looking at smaller amounts of layoffs, maybe 10 to 20 layoffs, and still looking at cuts. I think the message I want the community to hear is that regardless of what happens, the city clearly has some rocky waters ahead. Every city in Massachusetts is facing, a higher cost of doing business. We're all facing federal cuts, higher cost of pensions and healthcare. Everybody's going to be doing belt tightening no matter what happens here. We've already shifted to a lower cost health plan. We're already looking at ways of tightening department budgets, and we're looking at ways to bring in more commercial revenue. So I would encourage residents to look at the city website, look at the Yes for Malden, look at the Keep Malden Affordable page. There's passionate advocates on both sides of this issue, but there's no shortage of information out there to educate yourself. And also call your city councilors. That's what we're here for. We know this issue inside and out, so don't hesitate to call any one of us. We'd be happy to talk about it.